Hey guys, this is once again Krieg, and I'm Wit,
Once again, honest.
and today we're here to talk about elemental heroes. Hero alive. Anyway, this is once again honest is hero alive deck, and yeah, we'll start with always three bubble mans, and once again honest. This is basically the key to this deck, right? The three bubble man.
Yes, you always run three Goldman because you always search it with Stratos.
Right. All right, and now many people are gonna ask, why do you run three alias?
Three Alias because of the limit on e-call and also the limit on a hero lives. Meaning you need a monster, and even if you manage to have a terrible hand, if you have one Alias, you at least survive that turn.
Right.
Plus, it also makes hero names because I run Super Poly. It allows for more flexibility with the strategy
Yep.
with more hero names.
All right, that sounds good. And of course, Stratos, right? Yeah.
Just not banned, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Fortunately. And now, many people are gonna ask, why do you run a Photon Thrasher?
It's basically I would go for one of three. You would either go for Blackwing Zephyros, Photon Thrasher, which is what I chose, or Tasuke Knight.
Yep.
And I just decided to go with Photon Thrasher because by itself, it's a 21 beat stick. With the hero loop, you get it off a lot easier with an extra special summon.
Right.
Meaning, at any given time, with hero lives, you can have 6 summons. Without hero alive or hero lives, you have 5 summons. Which
Right.
basically equates to extra Xyz, and which basically means more recycling of monsters.
All right. That's understandable. And of course, you run two a hero lives because of the stupid ban list, banning like
Uh,
a limit, semi-limiting them.
I'd say it's fair that they did that, and they didn't nerf the whole deck by killing something like Future Fusion. It still allows for more flexibility for the special summons. It still doesn't kill the loop, because you only need one a hero lives for the loop. It just makes it less consistent than it actually was.
Right. And of course, you run Dark
Staple.
Hole. Yeah, Staple, Dark Hole, and two call. Yeah.
Uh, I always ran 2 e-calls because theoretically, if you drew a Stratos and you had a Hero Lives, or any other search card in your hand, including Pog Duality, your e-call becomes useless, especially if you search out for your 3 Bubble Mans with the loop, meaning there are 2 e-calls for 3 aliases.
Right.
So, along with Rhoda, which you could count as another e-call, Rhoda and e-calls equate for a 3-to-3 ratio.
Right.
Three search engines for your 3 aliases, or 3 search engines for 4 of your Stratos.
Yep. And
That
you got Rhoda because of searching for Proton Thrasher also, right?
Yes, though that's not as of an effective play. It's only very good first or second turn,
Right.
but it helps. It helps a lot. Another reason why you run Photon Thrasher, because you can't search for Zephyros. And
Yeah, that's right.
the effect of Tetsuke Knight isn't as good as you would think it to be, because ending a battle phase does not mean you will survive. Because by the time you manage to lose enough card advantage to lose the game, there's no coming back. Which
Right.
is why you have to be very good with card recycling and knowing about your opponent's plays before you go for the OTK.
Right. And now you run two Gemini Sparks. I questioned that actually. Like, why would you even run them?
Uh, Basically to kill Spirit Reapers, Marshmallons, and any card that gets in your way. It's your extra MST that's more flexible, and it cancels summons. I run 2 because if you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, it's fine. If you draw 1 and it's a dead draw, you won't be drawing another.
Right. Okay, and we got Staple Heavy Storm. Of course, that's self-explanatory. And Yeah, we got 3 Miracle Fusions right here. They,
Standard. You always need your fusion monsters, and you always need your unpredictable finishing plays.
right, it's one of the best top decks, don't you agree?
Yep, it gets you a free 3200 sand gap, essentially.
Right. And of course, Monster Reborn. Thank God that this card isn't banned.
Actually, for the deck itself, I would say Monster Reborn is definitely a very good thing, but if they had banned it, it would not hurt the deck as much as most people would think. Because for me, I run enough recovery cards that one card won't make too much of a difference as long as I'm running more stun. It just means that there's more protection from my own cards rather than more combos for the loop and more consistency.
Right. And now we have 2 MSTs. Yeah.
That was a deck space call. I don't like playing against monster mash builds, including Light Swarms and Chaos Dragons and things like that, where your opponent doesn't have spells and traps.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I do plan on maining more should I find the space.
Alright.
It's a meta call. It's really a meta call.
Right. And you run, of course, 2 Pop Duality, a staple.
You have to, because A Hero Lives is no longer as consistent as it was.
Right, because of the ban list stuff.
Yeah, you want to use Pog Duality for basically either the cards you need to survive for the next turn, where you OTK him, or you get the parts for the OTK.
Right.
Meaning, if you play Pog Duality, your best bet is either playing your Stratos, getting as many resources as you can, or playing extremely defensive with the limited resources you have and hoping your opponent doesn't kill you first turn.
Right. And yeah, Rhoda already explained. And we got 2 Super Poly. Now, why is that?
Hits everything. You mine is hard, but when you're going against a shooting Quasar and you activate this thing, you win the duel. If you go against basically any major OTK deck, it could be even JD. Any major OTK deck
Judgment Dragon
is on a boss monster that is summoned, you can hit it, and you would not care about your minuses if you have, say, Call the Haunted to get Stratos to get Alias, because the Alias as a normal summon would be dead in your hand anyways. And that's why I run 3 Alias, and I'm not afraid to overdraw on hero monsters.
Right, because I guess Super Poly does stabilize it. I agree now, because of your explanation there. And of course, the Warrior Returning Alive, one of the best cards.
I play 3 Warrior Returning Alive instead of 2 Warrior Returning Alive and 1 Hero Blast, simply for flexibility, because I want to set all my cards, make my big plays, get back my free Bubble Man, and just keep making big plays. That's the focus of this entire strategy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, of course, with this, you get free Bubble Man, if nothing else in your hand.
Or you can get your Stratos.
Yeah. Or that, I guess. And you get Call of the Haunted. You run 3 of them.
The reason why I run 3 Call of the Haunted at all is because, first of all, flexibility, and it also generates a lot of pluses off of Stratos, because if Stratos is just freely summoned without your opponent having a response, you generally either get a free Xyz and pressure your opponent to make another play, or you win the game.
Right.
The entire purpose of this deck is to make the OTK strategies happen all the time. Not just for a 1-turn OTK, but for a lasting 2-turn OTK with multiple backup plans. And Call the Haunted allows for a lot of that to happen. Even if you search for one of the Alias, you still have your strategies with your Gemini Spark to overtake your Alias and go conservative with 1800 and 1900 beaters, and you also have flexibility just to reborn or to call back, say, a Stardust, which is actually proven to be very, very good over the past few games that I've tested.
Yep, and you run 2 finish chains. I guess they are like a substitute for effect failures, right?
Uh, yes, but Fuse Chain for me also allows for a level of protection
I guess.
because the monster doesn't attack,
Yeah.
and that could mean your opponent ending their battle phase because they summoned one monster. Fuse Chain to me is also very good because if you set a Fuse Chain last turn and you attack with all your big monsters and hit into a Raikou,
Yep.
you can gain Fuse Chain to stop the activation of the monster's effect.
Right.
So I just played Fuse Chain because if you set it and your opponent doesn't have an MST and they summon a monster, you have an answer. It basically makes the monster useless, or in the case of Saul's Warning, it gets the monster off the field. That's all you care about. Just your opponent having no plays first turn or second turn, and then you just going and attacking.
Right. And next we got one Solemn Judgment. I guess.
Staple.
Yeah, staple.
You don't care about life points.
I guess. And 2 Solemn Warnings. Yeah.
Again, I play them because it's the get off my lawn sort of card. You don't care about life points at all, especially if you play a Hero Lives, because even if you hit yourself until you have 2,000 life points, you still have enough life points to beat your opponent if you attack.
Right.
And Solemn Warning hits Gores, Solemn Warning hits Trag, Solemn Warning hits everything as long as your opponent doesn't have a spell removal, trap removal card.
Alright, and you run 2 Starlight Road.
2 Starlight Road because Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Torrentials. I can count any external major disruption card like Judgment Dragon and things like that, just because a lot of that stuff is going to be more playable and valid, especially with the format that Konami has set up for us with widespread destruction. These 2 cards are very, very playable. And I run Starlight Road over Royal Prison, I think that card's called.
Yep.
Because it's always going to get you a plus. Even if they hit Starlight Road with an MST, that means your other traps are going to be live.
I guess.
If they hit a first turn Heavy Storm, you win the game because they won't have enough time to get over your Stardust, or they get over your Stardust and you combo him until he has no answers. So it's very, very valid, this format.
Alright. And now that was the main deck, guys, and now we're moving on to the side deck. You run 2 Snowman Eaters in the side deck. Yeah.
Fighters, basically your generic removal. I know Dino Rabbits aren't as much of a threat because of the hit on the 2 Rescue Rabbit. So
yeah.
I've always ran 2 Snowman Eaters just to get rid of any big monster threat. But that might change. I might run something else more towards defense or disruption. I've also thought about card D because of the simple draw power that gets.
You get 2 cards for free.
What your monsters.
Alrighty. And you run 2 Thunder Kings?
2 Thunder Kings, just generic. It kills the spellbook. That archetype, it seems to kill the Madolches, and it stands very well against basically anything else because it stops special summons.
Yeah, and stop searching also, like Sangan, and yeah. And you run 1 King Barbaros. Well, with this, you could actually switch your hero lab to an actual hero beater.
Yeah, I trick side into skill drain. Just for
skill drain heroes.
plays.
Alright, and 1 MST. Why do you have
MST. You're an extra MST, and then I run 3 Night Beams.
Yeah, Night Beams.
Because Chain Burn is going to be a very, very hot deck because of the 3 magic cylinders and your 3 marshmallows.
Right.
Always want an answer to kill. I've always had an answer to kill any rogue solitaire deck out there, and Nightbeam and MST seem to make it happen. Though I am also considering playing uh, Dark Bribe simply because countdown decks are valid. But now I'm just running Nightbeam just because of flexibility.
Yep. And you run 2 Chain Disappearance. I guess that's basic side deck.
Hit plants.
Yeah.
Hit plants. Hit anything that has weak monsters. It even hits Tour Guide now, I think.
Yeah, with 1,000 or attack. Yeah, or less attack. And you run 2 macros just to like screw it up light form decks.
It screws up a lot. It screws up Madolches. It screws up. I think it screws up Spellbooks. I think it screws up Atlanteans, but I'm not too sure about that. It's just the card that everyone doesn't want to see.
Yeah, macros.
And you could chain it, and they force out MSTs and Dark Holes for you to actually play Starlight Road, which is extremely powerful with this format. It also slows down the entire game. Once you bring out at least 2 big monsters, you have your Macrocosmos to seal the deal, while
Right.
you have something like Starlight Road to basically keep your monsters alive.
Okay. That's understandable. And you got 2 skill drain, which you already mentioned before. You could switch 2 skill drain heroes pretty well. Yeah, pretty well planned. That was actually a really good main deck and side deck. And yeah, now we've moved on to the extra. You run 1 absolute 0. I guess.
Just one.
Yeah, just 1. Considering that if you do have a Miracle Fusion, you don't really need absolute 0 unless they have a lot of monsters on the field. So and you need something to blow it up with.
Or unless you're playing Light Swarms or Twilights.
Right, and you run Esquardao.
Asturadao, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Super Polymerization Brigade.
Yeah, considering you run no darks at all. Okay. And now you run 1 Gaia.